Hi there! Welcome back to Hunt Hill at Home. Thank you again for tuning in for this survival week. Every day we've been doing a different topic in survival. So we've already covered things like shelter, navigation, finding water, and yesterday we talked about some ways to make fire. Today we are going to be talking about wild edibles, and specifically we're going to be looking at wild edibles that you can find in your own lawn. I'm not an expert on wild edibles, but I do know about these 4 specific plants that we're going to be talking about today. And they're ones that are very common that almost anyone can find in almost any place. So we'll be taking a look at some of the wild edibles around here that you can find in your own yards. And I'll do a little lawn salad taste test with all of you. Right now I am at the front porch of the farmhouse, and so I have very easy access to all of the lawn right in front of me. Before we begin though, we've got our joke of the day, and this is actually kind of a two-parter. So here we go. What is a sailor's least favorite vegetable? It's a leek. And what is a piano mover's most favorite vegetable? A ramp. So leeks and ramps are things that you can be getting from your yard. Well, not from your yard, but from the wild to eat. But there are also plenty of things that you can find right here in your own yard. So we're going to take a look at 4 different types of plants that are easy and common to find around here. Let's get started. All right. So I'm going to switch my view so you can see what I'm seeing. And if I look quickly around the yard, already I can see a lot of my first plant that we're going to give a test to. And that is our dandelion. Now, if you're like me, you probably, as a kid, have gotten a taste of dandelion, maybe after picking some, and you probably know that the liquid that comes out of the stem is very bitter. Now, I was terrified to try an actual dandelion because I knew how bitter this is. However, all of the dandelion is edible, including the leaves, the stem, the heads of the flowers, and the roots. We're just going to try a leaf and a flower today. And usually at Hunt Hill, we don't pick things. However, these things are going to get mown over by the lawnmower in a few weeks, so I'm not as concerned about these. Please don't pick anything out of our prairie or any of our protected habitats. So I have a head of a flower. Now, dandelions grow in a rosette, which is basically a spiral. So you want to find the youngest, smallest leaves from the inner part of the spiral. Those ones are going to be the least bitter. Now, if you look closely at the dandelion and you want to learn about identifying them, they've got kind of a spear-shaped leaf, and there's rows of what look like teeth. I actually learned this today as I was researching dandelions. These rows of teeth are the reason why these plants are called dandelions. It comes from the French word tooth of the lion, which is dandelion. So that's kind of a neat fact I learned. So I'm going to take these and they'll be part of my lawn salad today, but we're going to collect up all my other things first before we give them a try. So we'll go on a little adventure here. As I'm walking around, I'm taking a peek at some of the other things I've got around here. And just as a reminder, you should only ever eat something that you are 100% sure you've identified correctly and you know it's edible, and you know that there hasn't been any pesticides or herbicides put on them. You don't want to make yourself sick from eating wild things. Now here's another common thing you might find in your lawn. This is a wild violet, and you can identify them with these purple flowers. And the purple flowers have a stem that bends down so that the flowers are usually facing toward the ground. And then they've got these leaves that are heart-shaped. You can eat all of the parts above ground on a wild violet. So you can eat the flower head, and some people will actually dry these out and put some sugar on them to make them nice and sweet. And you can also eat the heart-shaped leaves. I'm going to take a little one. There we go. We'll keep moving, take a look at some other things that we've got in the yard. Let's see if I can find my next one. This one just started popping up a little bit ago. And this one also grows in a rosette, which is a circular form. This is called the plantain. It's not the same type of plantain as the one that grows in Hispanic countries. That's like a banana. This one is very different. It's related to the spinach. And so it actually tastes a little bit like spinach. And we're going to take, again, one of the smaller, more delicate leaves because they're less bitter and less fibrous. Now, if you take a look at these to identify them, they're going to be roundish, and they have these parallel lines running from the base all the way to the tip. Most other leaves you're going to find are going to branch out and start heading toward the edges, but these all go from base to tip. All right, let's take a look at one last one that we have in most yards, and that is clover. I was hoping I'd find a good bunch of clover, but they're all just kind of spread out. So here's our clover. Now you probably know clover. Clover has either white or red flowers. These ones will have white flowers in the summertime. They don't have flowers yet. And both species, the red clover and the white clover, all of the parts above ground are edible. So all the leaves, all the flowers. So I'm going to take one of these. Oop, I dropped something. There we go. And, all right, I think I've got them. So I'm going to head back to my sitting spot so I can have my lawn salad and describe to you all the different tastes. If you live in northern Wisconsin, you know it's very, very cold out today. We've got this northern wind that feels very brisk. So I definitely want to be sitting in the sun in the front porch where it's not as windy. All right, I'll switch back to me. Okay, so I'm going to give you a chance to see all of the different things I'm tasting, and I'll describe how they taste. So we'll start with our dandelion. I'll start with the green. And yeah, you definitely can get the dandelion taste to it. A lot of people who eat dandelions regularly will cook them so that they are not quite as bitter. But this one, since it's little, it wasn't too bitter. Then with the head, I usually try to make sure I don't have the stem on there because the stem is very bitter. But all of this yellow stuff is actually pretty sweet. It makes you understand why all those pollinators, the bees and things, like to eat them. If you've got dandelions in your yard, good for you. Dandelions are awesome for our pollinators. They're one of the first flowers to come up. And these things are really good for getting all of our pollinators, our bees, kick-started for the rest of the year to help with the rest of our flowers. So if you've got weeds in your yard, you're doing a good thing. Nice work. Next, we'll try our little violet. Here's my violet flower leaf, and it's heart-shaped. It's almost got no taste at all. It's a very, very light taste. And here is our little violet flower. Another thing for identifying these flowers is they've got 5 petals on them. So if you're ever not sure, it should have a downward facing head and 5 petals. All right, let's give this a try. Again, this one doesn't have a whole lot of flavor, but it's a little bit sweet. Then we've got our plantain. Again, the plantain is related to the spinach leaf. And it definitely tastes spinachy. I think if someone replaced my spinach with plantain, I'm not sure I would notice. Then last, we've got our clover. Clover is part of the legume family. And so this is in the same family as things like beans and peas, those sorts of things. And usually when I give these a try, they taste a little bit like peas. Like if you got a pea pod straight from your garden. They're very good. All right. Well, you got to watch me eat a garden salad. I hope you get a chance to try different wild edibles from your own lawn and maybe even make your own lawn salad. If you've got any questions, please feel free to write comments. I love getting all your comments, and I look forward to seeing you all again on Monday. Have a great weekend. Bye.